Hello, my name is Francis Fox. How are you? I'm a trained remote viewer and I have training in all psychic skills. Um, I want to remind everyone that last October or even September, I started to hammer on the subject of the fact that there were going to be two eclipses, I believe one in October and the other one we had a month ago, that were going to create an X over Texas. And we started, and I think it was September, doing a lot of mantras to purify Texas. And I know it must have made some kind of a difference because focused intention is a power. So the eclipse came and went, not such a big deal. Yeah, the border's a problem. And now we've had a couple of incidents in 2 days in Texas that indicate that that X from the two eclipses was not a coincidence and that the bad times are not really here yet, having to do with Texas. I just printed up the map of Texas. And while you're doing the mantras in a few minutes, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sketch the energies there because my map that I did 2 years ago, all of it ended up playing out, which is basically that Texas was going to become a hellhole. So, what do I want to talk about right now before we get into the peaceful part of the news from other dimensions? Today, supposedly, the Vatican was supposed to release a document, protocols having to do with dealing with beings, obviously without physical bodies. And I was laughing because in the Mantrista group, my followers, it's a movement of people that do mantras, and they are determined to develop their psychic skills to the level of superpowers, which some of us have. So, my goodness, I think somebody is working on me because my mind just left. Okay, the Vatican is putting out this protocol. We've been working with beings from off planet for the last 2.5 years. We've been witnessing spaceships. At one point, we went inside one and we talked to the beings there, which, by the way, I want to repeat what it is that when the one I talked to said to me. This was several months ago when there was a huge spaceship over the pyramids in Egypt. I said, okay, so tonight's chat, let's go there and let's talk to them and see what that's all about. It was fascinating. The being that I talked to explained to me that the spaceship was an extension of his mind. And I had read that a couple of times on X from UFO experts, from a lot of these ex-military men, that they said that the ETs said that the spaceships were an extension of them. But what was fascinating was the next statement that the ET made, and I have already said this on my channels and even here on X. The next statement the ET said was, the spaceship is an extension of me, just like what you're doing with Neuralink, where there's a link and then something outside of the person basically is working with and is part of the person. And I went, wow, because I think a lot of us are very distrustful of attaching ourselves to machines. I certainly understand it. I certainly feel that way. And this project by Elon Musk is something that I'm sure has created a lot of issues for him because of people's lack of trust. But as soon as that ET said that, the spaceship is an extension of me, just like Neuralink, I went, I get it. I get it. It's okay. We're moving in a direction, and we're not going to stop moving in that direction. So to not like the mix between machines and humans, it's coming. It's already here with those beings, but it's coming for us. The issue is obviously to use things ethically, but I wanted to share that with you. So we have the Vatican coming out with a statement. We have the US government not admitting that they know about ETs. And then we have my group, where we talk to them all the time. So I decided today, what is it that I can suggest for you? The Vatican's going to put out their protocols. Well, we can put out our protocol. I was trained in interspecies communication, and I do have the power of induction, which means that when you're in my presence, your ability to communicate interspecies and your psychic abilities augments. It doesn't mean you're going to automatically do it the first day, but we are going to have contact with them. I'm sure people have before. So what do? Well, I was explaining to a friend of mine today, you know, like I'm trying to do the voting for the Tesla stock. I actually put a lot of money in Tesla, and I'm not backing down. And I don't know how to do the voting. It's a little bit complicated. So anyway, so my stockbroker said he didn't know how to do it either, but he'd figure it out. And he came back to me and said, here, you call this number, but whatever. So I said to my friend, this whole thing with our contact with ETs is just like we live today. I didn't know how to figure out how to vote. So I called my stockbroker. And if I have a legal problem, I'm going to call my lawyer. And if I have a problem with my teeth, I'm going to go to the dentist. You have a team of people that you work with. You don't call it a team. They're professionals. You need a team of people that you work with before you start communicating with ETs. You can't just, what are you? Nothing. You go with backup, or you stay where you're at with backup. What's your backup? Well, I would suggest you go with Anubis, which is the god of the underworld. The Egyptian is actually really good people, and very good if there might be a fight or something aggressive. You could choose your favorite virgin. You could choose your favorite guardian angel. The guardian angels and the virgins are actually not such a great choice if it has to do with ETs and it could become aggressive. It's not their energy. I suggest that you have them on your team, and then I suggest that you find other mythological beings that kind of resonate for you. And you put them on your team. How do you put them on a team? You send them an email? Certified letter? No. Intention. In the other dimensions, it's all intention. So what's your intention? What kind of backup do you want? Or do you just want protection? And then you allow yourself to get creative. You absolutely must have a dragon. The crazy lady's not crazy. People are saying that increasingly. And remember who trained me. And they can be whatever you want them to be, but they're not crazy. They know exactly what side their bread is buttered on. So you need a dragon. Now, dragons have been revered and used throughout history. In Feng Shui, you have to honor the dragons having to do with your property. Well, that makes sense because dragons are Nagas, Nagas. At one point, they were the dinosaurs on the planet. They are now a lot of the reptilians, and they have wonderful intentions for planet Earth and for human beings. Wonderful intentions. They can be very aggressive, but only because they're defending you or something that needs to be defended and should be defended. They're very clear-headed. They don't have much of a sense of humor. That I can tell you. Very loyal. Very, very loyal. So you flip through the internet, which obviously you don't flip through, or maybe if you have a cell phone, I have no idea how you're going to find it on the internet. Look up dragons and one that you like. Print it up, put it on the wall, and start to establish a relationship with that dragon and have him be part of your SWAT team. This is not a joke. The joke is so many people on planet Earth being totally unprepared and still wasting their time denying that that can be true, because if it was true, then the government would have told them. So I suggest that you start to delve into metaphysical figures. Would I have told you this 5 years ago? Absolutely not. The only metaphysical figures I have used are dolphins, my consciousness, and the Greeks did consider them gods. But if I'm going to meet with ETs, I'm not going to ask the dolphins to come along. or I'm not going to intend, because it's basically that. I'm not going to intend that they be there because not their thing, not their thing. I will get Anubis, and I will get the God of all gods, which they use in the statue, the Academy Awards. Pata, absolutely. Move closer. I was going to say you should get creative. You should get wise, not creative. You should do what has been done through the centuries. You should do what's on the walls of the Egyptian tombs. Why do they have all those animals there? You can have an animal there. You love lions or leopards? Call me. If you cut out the images and put them on the wall or put them on a place where you can see them a lot, you start to break down the feeling that maybe they're an animal and you're a human and this is silly. If it was silly, the civilizations that we admire and we want to know how they did things, and they put animals in their uniforms, in their jewelry, on top of their heads, on their walls, they weren't dumb. They weren't great in this other stuff and then dumb in this other stuff. No, they knew something. The indigenous know that. You get your power animal, but this is beyond that. A Native American Indian, if he's going to go do some soul retrieval work for you, he calls in a power animal. And then he does a ceremony, and then he goes down into the underworld because he needs protection there. You need protection in all the dimensions. You get it on the physical dimension. You may live in a neighborhood where that is closed and there's a guard at the front gate. Or a condo where there's a guard at the front gate and then there's somebody at the desk downstairs. Gatekeepers. So they can't. You need to start exploring, and you can make it fun. We have made it fun in the Mantrista movement. Let me show you what we have, and this does not include Pata, who was our latest addition, because he keeps showing up. This is our SWAT team for the Mantrista movement. Obviously, Ganesh having to do with prosperity. On the right, lower right, you have the medicine Buddha if you get sick, and then you have the two virgins, Guadalupe, who's incredibly powerful, and then you have the Virgin Undoer of Knots. She does the knots of your mind, and those knots are in the Lord's Prayer in the original Aramaic. And then you have Anubis and your dragon and Osiris, and it ends up being fun, which is a lot more fun than the current way that we do business and that we live. But it's also compatible what has been done on this planet for eons. And the only reason people continued to align themselves with these kind of forces is because it works. So I think Carl Jung would have called it like a force. It's a being that is poured into a particular shape, like Anubis is poured into the shape where he looks like a jackal, I think. And the Nagas, who are the original owners of planet Earth, they owned the Earth. They have been in the shape of dinosaurs, of serpents. There's another shape that I'm not remembering. This is shape shifting. This is a shape, but what's inside is a liquid nectar that runs through the strings. So you need to widen your lens. We're in the middle of a paradigm shift. They talk about ontological shock with people when they wake up and they realize, oh my God, the world is not what I thought it was. This world is what you thought it was, but it's collapsing. Anyway, you go like this and you go, well, the economy, and then you go like this, and then it gets interesting. It gets fascinating. And then you can understand kind of the unwritten history. And then stuff that you've realized kind of makes sense. And then what's happening is not quite as bad. So you have to widen your lens and you have to start playing with this whole thing. What is interspecies communication? It's telepathy. In telepathy, as I told you in the Russian studies, two women that knew different languages, different cities, they sent messages back and forth, and each one of them heard the telegraphic message in the language that they understood. That's telepathy. It's instant translation. Language is a setback for humans. So this is a week, or this is like a month, it's a week, I don't know what it is. It's 10 days of incredible changes that are very disconcerting, and has to be difficult for people that run large organizations when they have everybody inside not knowing what's going on. But we were told about this. So stress management, you need to do stress management at home and at work. And I already told you that story. I did the mantras. I came up with them many years ago. And in the 90s, I was hired to do stress management for a company who contended they couldn't find anybody, which was ridiculous. I think they just wanted to make it easy and just to have me do whatever. Turned out it ended up being one of the highest rated programs. It was a very large company with presences in many countries. I taught them mantras and visualization. And the only complaint that we got, the only thing they said that could improve it was if I stopped talking so much. They just wanted to do the mantras. So that was kind of good, because I thought I was going to have to over-explain everything for them to kind of accept it, because they were bankers that they say their pinstripes had pinstripes. So very straight-laced. They loved the mantras. They loved the visualization. Who knew? So stress management for your people, please, to hold their hand through these very, very, very difficult times. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the first. Nope, that's not it. We're going to do the first mantra. And we're going to use the music now that seems to be the one we need now, which is the one with the whales. We're going to use that music, and we're going to do this for 15 minutes. Where are you at now in terms of your well-being? 1 to 10. 1 is, I'm trying to paste this. There we go. 1 is you just want to die. And 10 is you feel like $1 million. Where are you at? I'm going to do the golden white dress. And then I'm going to sketch this group, and then I'm going to sketch Texas, and I'll tell you what I see, because Texas may be ground zero for whatever's coming next, which everybody's predicting is going to be incredibly bad. There you have the dress. Hi. Here we go. I didn't put it. See you in 15 minutes. Fasten your seatbelts. Fasten your seatbelts. Not for nothing, the Vatican is putting out something today. This is us today. Lots of fire. The earth is burning up. Triple protection. This is good. These are spaceships. This is good. Look how close they are, coming in from both sides, not just the galactic portal on the left. See this? This is an outline of a spaceship right on top of us. Okay, a black spaceship, not blue, not pink, black. This is the reason for the revelations. So then I went, okay, let's do Texas. Remember that my map that I did in Texas 2 years ago, all the stuff ended up playing out. And I did that even before I knew about the eclipses. This is Texas. All these X's are black magic, totally outlined in black magic. And then a huge one in the center. And then a huge spaceship on top of Texas in black, which means enemy. The words that I sketched on the bottom, I thought, I don't think I'm going to tell them that. And then I went, don't worry your pretty little head about that. You know, when you're a female and you go to the doctor and you're dying and the doctor says, don't worry your pretty little head about that. I got that under control. Meanwhile, it's your body, whatever. I guess I shouldn't do that to you. So the words that came out are no mercy. So what does this say to me? Because I've been watching myself since 1992, watching what I say, what I sketch. My sketches are even more reliable than what comes out of my mouth. This is very grounded. And basically, yes, the future is elastic and plastic. But when I sketch something, we really have to pay attention. So Texas, I don't know how, I was going to say, we're going to clean this all up. I don't think governments are ready to hire me to take care of or to pitch in with this type of thing. They should, because they hire all sorts of other contractors that cannot help them at all. But this is not a pitch to get hired. This is expressing my frustrations at how we have really shot ourselves, not in the foot, but in the face, because we're just not ready. So no mercy. And I think that I keep going back to the Vatican thing. I think that what the Vatican is going to be sharing with us, I'm not sure that they did in the last hour, obviously on a Friday. And then everybody can go home and worry their pretty little heads about other things and forget about this disastrous news that was just thrown at them. It's supposed to be a protocol for dealing with ETs. Well, I'm not sure that the ETs associated with this, I'm not sure that we're going to be able to negotiate with them. But we do appear to have help, which is all of these spaceships on both sides of us, not just entering the left. So I think that the momentum that has been building up It's here. It's now. I think that the two eclipses warned us about Texas. I swear I could strangle people when they say, "Oh, well, eclipses, get the little glasses and we'll be able to look at them." And I'm like, what's the matter? What's the matter is that we have not been educated. We have not respected that the weather, the elements have consciousness, and that they try to not only talk to us, but they clean us up. So all the places that are getting all that water, the fire that the solar flares augmented on the planet, remember that the basis for the apocalypse, when you look at this, the art, it's always flames and fire. So this has augmented dramatically since last week. The water puts out fire, so does earth. I prefer the flooding than the earthquakes, but I'm not the one making the decision. But the elements are making the decision, which is the point I'm trying to make. They have consciousness and they have intention. And they try to help out, regardless of how dumb we have been about them. We have honored the physical dimension too much. We have honored our physical body, our mind. The same way you take care of your body, you need to take care of your mind and your soul. We're still arguing, does it exist? Doesn't it exist? Is that a spirit? I think that we are in deep trouble because of an incredible lack of information and a disrespect for people that have this kind of information, and even more of a disrespect for people that actually use it. I myself have been extremely critical of people who practice black magic. Yet, I have learned so much from viewing it long distance from when I take care of my clients, my family, my friends, myself. So we've all been too judgmental and we've all been too flippant about that. We're here. It's now. And it appears that Texas is ground zero, having to do at least with this part of the world or having to do with this country. Today's Friday. I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll be back on Monday. And if something really dramatic happens over the weekend, then I'll be back then also. Okay? So thank you for joining us. And I hope you feel better after the mantra session, though starting on Monday, I'm going to be doing the news first, and then we're going to do the mantra therapy. And I'm not going to land bad news on you after you've done the mantras. Do it at the beginning. There is good news too. There's fun stuff. It's a lot more fun to have Anubis on your team than to have a lot of the people that we have on our team today. You don't even have to pay them. That's kind of neat. Bye.